3 Halloween records, a dark exploration of love in the modern world, and a prettily arranged orchestral effort. Whose album will be the most ghoulish and greatest this month? This is 5 to 9's Album of the Month episode for October 2025. I'm Andrew Belt, editor of the 5 to 9 blog, and joining me as always are Karl Blakesley of New Music Central and Kiley Larsen, the founder of label Mañana Records. So, how you guys doing?
Good.
That's it.
Yeah, I feel like might be something in my room, but yeah, good otherwise.
On brand for this month with our Halloween records and Kylie bringing a flavour of Thanksgiving from across the pond. So
From the future.
From the future, yeah, looking back and looking ahead. So we're looking back at October and definitely the spooky elements of it. I mean, Karl, what were your music highlights outside of the 5 albums we're about to discuss?
Yeah, I mean, so October, quite a busy month for live music, as it always is. Seven gigs and 1 festival, so a bit of a struggle to narrow that down to 3 highlights, but I've managed to do it. So yeah, we'll start with Hayden Thorpe's show at the Barbican Centre in London, which, my 3rd time this year seeing his Ness show. Each one has been, special for its own reasons. I'd say this one, it was because he didn't, just have, Robert McFarlane, who wrote the book, and the Propeller Ensemble, who obviously worked on the album as well, but he had like a full choir and orchestra with him made up of musicians from the Guildhall School of Music and Drama. So yeah, it was an amazing show, split into 2 parts. First half was kind of all new music inspired by Ness, and written especially for the show, with the orchestral arrangement. And then the second half was just Ness in full again, and he had like this big screen over the stage projecting like animations that some of the students had worked on as well. So yeah, some really nice like visuals to accompany the songs as they were being performed, and yeah, just incredible. Said to Hayden after the show, this felt like Ness kind of like in its full form at 100%. The choir and the orchestra just maxed out the sound, and just a really magical night. Capped off by an encore of he even rolled out Wild Beasts Wanderlust, which I wasn't expecting at all, and with the orchestra, just an absolute dream to witness that one. So that was the first highlight. In the same week, then headed over to Sheffield for Self Esteem's huge homecoming show at Sheffield Arena, which, I mean, ever since she kind of debuted that, West End show, I'd been eager to see this tour and kind of how it came together. And it didn't disappoint. The choreography, the performance, the production was quite minimal, but I'd say striking, like how she kind of pulled it together. 2 great support acts in Nadine Shah and Moonchild Sonelli, who both had parts to play in the headline show as well. And I mean, the atmosphere in that room, it was like just being in the home end of a cup final or something. It was just every time there was a pause, there was just like this thunderous ovation for Rebecca at any given time. So I mean, it was just a real moment for herself, I imagine, and obviously for Sheffield as well. But just a really sublime show, and it's one of those that last time I saw her ended up one of my shows of the year, and this one was kind of on that level as well. So, and then the last one, final highlight, was the Amazons right here in Rock City last weekend before. I've seen them earlier this year live at Leeds and Rough Trade as well, but this really was the show to hear 21st Century Fiction in all its glory. They played pretty much the entire album during the course of the show, not front to back, but all of the album bar, I think, 2 songs. And they just sounded even more seismic than they do on the record. So yeah, but a band that I've seen 18 times now, and in terms of their performance, I would say I've never seen them better. You know, it was a 2 hour set, or like a bit of a mammoth set from those guys. Had Ella McRobb and George LePage with them, who just add so much to the live show. Obviously, they added a lot to the album as well, but the live show really brought those songs to life. A lot of the songs as well, they extended out with some insane guitar solos from Chris. Every time I see him play, he just blows my mind with what he can do with a guitar. And then, yeah, some real tender moments as well with Matt's voice and Ella's harmonies, just really spellbinding, particularly on Go All the Way. When they performed that song, it was just, yeah, goosebump inducing. So, yeah, 10 out of 10 rock show from those guys. I'd say the only disappointment was, you know, Rock City is known for being quite thunderous and uh, gets itself going for every show. This one was a little quiet and reserved, I think, compared to normal. I think because it was on a Sunday night and there was other shows happening elsewhere, maybe it was a bit more subdued than some other Amazon shows that I've been to. But yeah, in terms of the band, can't fault them at all. They basically still played their hearts out like it was a full stadium. So yeah, those were my 3 highlights for October.
All ghosts of 5 to 9 album of the month past as well. With you can check out our review of Ness. That's on the channel. Your interview with Hayden Thorpe as well. And then this year, both Self Esteem and the Amazons we've covered on the pod. So yeah,
Yeah, definitely ghosts when it comes to self-esteem for Kylie, I think.
oh yeah, good ghosts and
I liked the
especially
record
bad.
before that.
So there we go. That's your 3 highlights. So Kylie, what about yourself for October?
Yeah, I'm gonna fold 2 things into a quick one. We gotta mention Strange Magic's Effervescence. His new record came out at the beginning of October, and just once again, a really fun record to work on. I think Hobbs' goal for this one was to explore things besides power pop, and there's a good new mix of new pathways on it, and it's been nice. Seems like people have really responded to it. It's had nice streams, good video views, which is always fun. And then as part of that, we threw the album release party the next day at the Locals Only Festival, which I put together. This was the second year. And we had Strange Magic and a lot of the usuals like Free Range Buddhas. Total of 7 bands, an all day thing outside. Kind of one of the last really nice weekends weather-wise. So uh, look back fondly at that right now. I want to talk about another show I had the next week that I hosted, which was the Omens, who are like a legendary Denver garage punk band. I think they've been at it for like 30 years. So growing up in Denver and knowing about those guys, but never having seen them, it was fun to bring them down to Santa Fe and host them. And then I think what really brought it home for an October show is they were supported by the Ouija Chords, who are an Albuquerque um, horror garage surf band. They wear their Halloween rubber masks and have an MC Crypt Keeper that comes up and tells horrible jokes in between the songs.
Love it.
And I just what I love about them on top of the shows is that obviously October is their most in demand month, and instead of doing like a big Halloween show, they keep it for the kids and play in their neighborhood for all the trick-or-treaters. And I think this year was especially great because their longtime bassist is leaving the band. I think he's moving. And so, at the show in front of all the neighborhood kids, they killed the old bassist, and then the new bassist rose from the dead and finished the show with him, which I thought was great. And then the third thing, just quick, album Aesop Rocks, second record of the year. I heard it's a mess there too. We've kind of talked offline about those records this year, and just two really good bookends the year from him. I think the more I listen to the new record, the more I think the beats are a bit stronger on this one. So if you're an Aesop Rock fan, don't miss the new one.
Lots of Halloweeny references there. I mean, Strange Magic, even though it's not music you would regard as Halloweeny, you could certainly think of potions from the name. And congratulations, of course, on
Thanks.
on that record coming out. Which I need a few more listens before the end of the year on that. But I've been enjoying the dives into it. I got to say, just about 30 odd minutes, isn't it? And so it's just very easy,
a little
to
under.
stick on, and
Yep.
yeah. And the video, as you say, with if you enjoy watching ladies roller skating, then then check out the video
we
for the
got-
lead single.
We got big support from our local gas station chain on that video, because there's a beverage from Allsups, they're called. They sell tall sips, which are their big gulps, and that was one of Haas' requests, was to have the woman roller skating drinking a tall Fritz. So
Yeah,
we tagged them, and they seem to love it.
other drinks are available. So yeah, the Omens Ouija chords. I think that's a great name. And very interesting show. And then Aesop Rock is just sticking on the ghosts of 5 to 9 past. With covering, what was it in 2023, integrated tech solutions, which made it to the end of year roster on the shortlist for album of the year. So there we go. Less spooky on my side of things, and not much on my side of things. I've got an album and just an awards show, which I didn't go to, but I just watched on TV. So the album is, well, I would have added a show, but that was in the midst of my COVID-y flu symptoms. Unfortunately, I was going to be heading back to which part of London? The trendy part of London. Name escapes me anyway. And seeing this brass band, basically, which was just a recommendation from Xenia, who has chosen one of the albums we'll be reviewing a little bit later. But yeah, having bought the ticket, was ill. So that's the low light of the month. And then the album Prune System. So Prune is Izzy Hagerup's project. It's a 9-track, fairly light indie rock kind of odyssey. Really enjoyed it. Came up via the algorithm. Whether that's a good thing or not, but I've managed to find this artist who I didn't know anything about. From American indie artist, and I don't know, if you like Wednesday, maybe that's a reference for what she does, then this might suit. It's kind of bedroom in indie rock and kind of quite lo-fi, but done in a quite compelling way. So that was an album I enjoyed away from these records we're about to discuss. And then the other thing was small comment on the Mercury Music Prize. Obviously big date in the diary every year. I know Karl and I are always very excited about it. The UK kind of award every year, but it's been through a rocky few years. But the thing which was great was just to see the live performances again. I'm not going to comment on the winner until what I think about that. But I think the thing which makes it magical is the awards night itself. So whether it being in a big arena is really the right way or whatever, I mean, it means that you get to see the most of the artists perform, and there's always one spellbinding moment. And I would give it to Jacob Allen this year. I really thought his performance was exceptional, and an album which is very worth checking out called In Limerence. So yeah, just a small note on that, but quiet month. Certainly not up to your 6 gigs and 1 festival, Karl. Or just releasing a record from one of your label roster and setting up lots of gigs. So yeah, I'm definitely the quietest, that is for sure. But we are here to discuss 5 albums, our frightful 5, and we're going to kick off with Sanguivore 2, Mistress of Death by Creeper. And this was Karl's selection. So you can kick us off, Karl.
Yeah, I mean, easy pick this month. I mean, love Creeper, great theatrical rock outfit from Southampton. And yeah, with it being Halloween season and releasing on Halloween itself, and given how much we enjoyed Sanguivore Part 1, which is on the channel somewhere if you want to check that out, yeah, was keen to see how we got on with the sequel. And I think from my side, you know, they say the sequel is never as good as the original, and I'd say I'm inclined to agree here. Albeit this is still, for me, a lot of fun. It's still a lot of fun. I mean, as you would expect, it is more of the same with what we got with Sanguivore. I mean, it's campy, you know, horror themed kind of glam rock goodness, lots of guitar shreds, big power rock anthems, very theatrical again. You know, starts with the narrator kind of bringing us into this world, exclaiming, "Rock music is a horny vampire, and tonight it's feasting on you," which makes me laugh every time that comes on. I think it sums up the record perfectly, I think. And yeah, the story of this album is about a vampire rock band on tour, but this Mistress of Death is hunting them down. And you know, I was thinking back to the original Sanguivore record where, you know, there was that metaphor for COVID times and the potential loss of live music, and I was trying to think how this one fits into that. And I was thinking maybe it's like, okay, live music has survived, but the music business and rock and roll is still living on the edge and in danger. And I'd say that's kind of like the continuation, if you want to kind of dig that deep into it. But yeah, I mean, like the first album, those hidden depths are there, but you don't need to, you know, there's plenty to enjoy on a very superficial level with this record. Yeah, the band comes storming out the gates with the great run of singles. You know, you got the title track, Blood Magic, Headstones, Pray for the Night. Really love the latter 2 songs in particular. I think Headstones has that big 80s inspired chorus that can't help but get you fired up every time it comes on, especially when like the instruments drop and it hits you with the chorus. And then Pray for the Night has all the saxophone and like sleazy guitar riffs going on. But yeah, I mean, you know, strong first half. There's plenty of fun moments in the second half as well. Parasite is fantastic. Razor Wire, which sees Hannah Hermione kind of takes center stage for a very, you know, cabaret style number. And then the last track, Pavor Nocturnus, I think is my favorite one on here. It's not quite as epic as Further Than Forever, which, you know, opened the whole story back on Sanguivore Part 1. But yeah, I think it's another brooding rock song that ties a neat bow on the story. Some excellent guitar work again, especially in the back half of that song. So yeah, I think it's one of those. If you enjoyed the first album, you'll very likely enjoy this one too. But yeah, overall, it doesn't have, for me, like the same surprise impact, or doesn't quite hit the same heights, I think, pound for pound, as the first record. I think I did as well. I think I mentioned this to you guys in the chat or last time we were on the pod. I did find as well the novelty starting to wear off at times. You know, I really like this fun campy side of Creeper, and I don't think that will ever completely go away because it was still there on their first couple of projects as well. But I think I'm keen for them to get back to maybe something a bit more heartfelt, emotionally driven, which we did have plenty of moments like those on their first couple of projects where it wasn't, campy, but not completely fantastical or over the top like they are here. So, yeah, not as good as the first one, but like I said, a lot of fun again. And yeah, good to hear Creeper using all their tricks to give us another Halloween treat, I would say.
Mm. Was it a treat for you, Kylie, or more of a trick?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love this record. I think it, it it's been a while since I've listened to the last one, but from what I remember, I felt like this one had a little more synth pop going on it than the other one did, which I really enjoyed. Uh, I do think Headstones is just such a great single. Loved just like the live performance music video. I thought was really good for that one. Um, I think my other highlights, "Pray for the Night," which I think was another single. This record, the last one, there are a lot of AFI comparisons that I hear in there a lot. But that song in particular, I don't know if you guys remember it. It was kind of a blip, but the supergroup Dream Car, which was Davey Havoc, and then the three guys from No Doubt. And they put out one record, I think in 2017. And that's kind of what that song reminded me of, the more synth pop side of Davey Havoc, if we're going to go with the AFI. Uh, I also like Daydreaming in the Dark. Love the punchy bass on that song is super fun. And then the Black House as well. I really enjoyed. Reminded me a lot of like Drab Majesty and Merchandise, which were like these melancholic synth pop bands last decade, which I listened to a lot of at the time, but haven't recently. And so it was kind of like a nice reminder. Went back and listened to a couple of those albums. So yeah, Creeper. I mean, I loved this record. I think maybe even a little bit more than Karl did.
For the second month in the row, my pick.
Yeah.
You love it more.
Okay, so we've started there, gone up there, and I'm probably bringing it back down. But I think in terms of a bit more closely aligned with what Karl was saying. I mean, I enjoyed it, that's for sure, and I'm only going to add to the love for Headstones, which I thought was a little bit Avenged Sevenfoldy. You're flaccid for life as I lust for your death. There's a particularly memorable. I mean, this is an album full of such lyrics, but that was one I pulled out. Yeah, that one for me is definitely the highlight, and yeah, I think it kind of, this is a record which goes in waves, a little like you say, Karl, where like at times the effect is lost a little bit by sort of sticking so close to that kind of camp rock opera approach. But there's other great highlights in here. I think most of which again have been mentioned. Razor Wire I think is really great moment for the female singer, as you mentioned, Karl. I think Daydreaming in the Dark is something a bit more varied than some of the songs here. Mistress of Death is, kicks things off in a good way after we have the intro with Patricia Morrison. And yeah, like Parasite, of course, another very good one. Even if I do find the suck kind of bit a little bit, it's almost too on the nose, that bit. But for some people that'll be a positive. So yeah, and then maybe the Crimson Bride is probably the only other one I would want to particularly highlight. Which I thought was a little Billy Idol like as well. And also a bit like him or His Infernal Majesty, I think it was the Finnish band I was quite into in the early Kerrang days of listening to metal a bit more. So yeah, there is a lot more variation on the record maybe this time around. I did feel that the last one was better though. With hits I can still kind of think back to just if I know what the title of the song is. And yeah, it was kind of, there were moments, yeah, where it just felt it was not always, yeah, hitting its straps. Also quite surprised. There's two songs which are just so reminiscent of others. I think again we kind of slightly mentioned this before, but I was looking in like the notes to sort of see if there was any acknowledgement of the songs which I think they are reminiscent. Which is the one? Yeah, Heaven is a Place on Earth. Blood Magic, It's a Ritual. I mean, that is the two. And then there was the other one which I couldn't quite place the actual song, but you would know it straight away, and maybe one of you can chip in if. But there was two songs, the second song as well, where like the music itself is just such a rip from another song that they're, like I say, in the kind of notes I expected an acknowledgement of that, but yeah, far be it for me to dob them in. So we'll cut it short there. But yeah, I can only echo. A lot of fun.
Talking about the rip-offs, I don't know if you guys saw any by any chance on Album of the Year. There was a user review that called it Meatloaf for the Monster Energy Generation, and I thought that was perfect.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
Works very well. Sometimes the concise reviews are the best. We should have just said that, guys. Right.
Yeah.
A little bit more nuance, perhaps, in what we've covered. So it's a good way to kick off our very Halloween heavy album of the month episode. But we continue in a similar vein with album number 2, which is Tremor by Daniel Avery. And Kylie, this was your choice, so you can kick us off.
Yeah, long time London-based. I guess you can classify him as electronic. He's kind of evolved a lot over the years. I believe this was his 7th record. I've been a long time fan, but Ultra Truth in 2022, his last proper record, that finished top 3 for me. I thought it was just really great, just club beats with a lot of ambient textures and I guess if you go with the Halloween theme, sometimes eerie and little paranoid around the edges. And just I played the hell out of that record, and also More Truth, the remix record that followed up, I thought was pretty good for a remix record. And I will say, throwing on Tremor, I was caught by surprise with how different this is from the last record. And I absolutely love it. Just really going in a different direction here. A lot of shoegaze, little new metal around the edges sometimes. Uh, but after the instrumental opener, Rapture in Blue, that just caught me off guard right away and was like, okay. I think the Cecil Believe feature is okay, and I felt the same way about Haze, the following track. I loved the bass of the filtered distorted guitars were really cool. I'm not sure who Ellie is, and I didn't find out, but that part of the song didn't really work for me. But I think after that, which is funny, you want your first 3 songs to be yeah, and I think they're good songs, but for me, like after that, it really picks up. A Silent Shadow with Bedroom. Uh, this record was mixed by David Wrench, who's worked with FKA Twigs and Frank Ocean, and then one of my all-time favorites, Alan Mulder, who did Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness and a lot of older Nine Inch Nails. And I think A Silent Shadow is kind of where I can hear that really start to form, especially in the verses there have like a very Nine Inch Nails feel to them. Absolutely love that song. And then New Life with Yune Pinku. It's like 90s inspired vaporwave, which I know vaporwave's kind of had its moment and gone, and which I understand. There's only so many ways it can go. And then I heard this song and I was like, I mean, here's a direction for it here. We're keeping it fresh. Greasy Off the Racing Line. Really love Alison Mosshart from The Kills. I think her feature on here is just fantastic. Um, and then Until the Moon Starts Shaking, that I think is as close as that ties into the last record as this one does. Um, let's see. Oh, then The Ghost of Her Smile, which I noted, has Abe Cunningham-esque Deftone drums. So like the production on those drums just sounds so good on this song. But I think the centerpiece of this track is Julie Dawson from New Dad does a feature on here, which I think is just on paper, this team up shouldn't really make sense, but I just absolutely love it, and it's my favorite song that she's done in a while. Really good to hear her doing something different like that. Uh, Disturb Me, we reviewed Yuli, I think 2 years ago. That was your pick, right, Andrew?
No,
And
we've not done. We've not
I
done.
thought we
No, no.
no,
I was interested in.
oh, I
It might
thought
have been
we
on the poll. But yeah,
well, I listened to it.
yeah. It's
I
a
swear
good artist.
yeah, and I really liked, her feature there too, and then especially there's an awesome synth hook in the back half of that song. Um, and then this was like another one that had me geeking out, which was In Keeping, Soon Will Be Dust, which features Walter Schreifels, who has been around forever in the 80s. He had Gorilla Biscuits. But for me, I absolutely loved his project Rival Schools, which was I think their first album came out in 2001,
Hmm.
was a huge uh high school record for me, so it was fun to hear that. I don't Carl, have you ever listened to Rival Schools?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't think of it right now, but yeah, as soon as you said it,
Used for Glue was.
Yeah, Used for Glue.
Yeah.
It's a classic house party music video. Um, you know, kids just hanging out doing nothing. It's a very 2001 snapshot. Anyway, another one like the Julie Dawson team up that I'm just like, dang, this
Hmm.
really works well. And then yeah, that I like the title track as well when it gets back into the instrumental. So um yeah, super surprised, but very pleased with the direction that he took on this record. It will easily be one of my favorite records this year. And I'm also hoping that, like More Truth, that maybe there's a remixed record in there too, because I think there's I think there's some good meat on the bone here still that I'd like to taste.
Bit more to chew on, and
Yeah.
there we go, like a zombie just feasting away.
I was
while-
going to say that's another like Halloween.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like it.
Oh well, we'll be back to normal business next month, right? Carl, yeah, what did you make of Tremor?
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, very happy that Kylie picked Dan Avery this month. Summer Story, been really into his recent projects since, Love and Light and Together in Static over lockdown. That was kind of where I came in. And then, yeah, as Kylie said, his last outing, Ultra Truth, probably the best of this, recent run. And yeah, that kind of companion EP that he did to that project, excellent too. And yeah, I think Tremor just continues this incredible run, and the trend of each new project from him being better than the last one. Yeah, it's pretty much. I think Kylie mentioned it in the chat. It's the perfect electronic album for like this time of year. Just really dark, atmospheric, very industrial and rock inspired. think the title track is a great example of that. And yeah, I mean, it comes across in the guests that he pulls in here too. So Ellie is Ellie Rousel of Wolf Alice, who when I was listening,
That
yeah,
makes sense.
yeah, when I was listening for the first time, it was like a pleasant surprise to hear her voice turn up. Which yeah, on Haze, I think that's a fantastic track. Obviously, you mentioned Julie Dawson of New Dad, which yeah, another great collab. That one, and yeah, Bedroom. You know, I think the really taps in, obviously to the obviously I would say the New Dad track is definitely more shoegaze, but obviously they're a more shoegaze turned electro outfit themselves as well. So I think getting Bedroom on here is like a really good pick. And then yeah, you mentioned the other ones as well, Yuli, Alison Mosshart, Uni Pinku. I think it all just makes for a really eclectic, endlessly intriguing electronic record that yeah, he somehow manages to pull all that kind of, you know, you've got the shoegaze, you've got, you know, the glitch pop from Yuli, you've got, you know, the rockier stuff from, you know, the Kills and um, Wolf Alice, and yeah, he just takes all that together and puts it into this really cohesive package, which I think is the real achievement with this record. And as Kylie mentioned, there's some lovely like ambient moments on here too. The opening track, A Memory Wrapped in Paper and Smoke. The final track as well with Art School Girlfriend is got that like very kind of dream pop vibe to it as well. So yeah, it kind of starts and ends quite chilled out, but then along the way it just throws you in all these like swirling industrial rock and creepy electronic sounds, and yeah, I just find it like really just a fascinating, very Halloweeny experience. So yeah, big fan of this record, like Kylie, and yeah, just already looking forward to the next Dan Avery project because he just continues to outdo himself each time.
I'm only going to add to the chorus of approval here. One of two artists. Yeah, really enjoyed this album. I've got to say. I mean, one of two artists who I'm not really too familiar with going into the pod. Had seen his name bandied about and in the electronic kind of music world. So this was quite a shock actually putting this on and be like, damn, this is rocky. It's a bit industrial. But yeah, I think you know where you get to with this, it's just like almost like a compilation piece, but I think as you kind of refer to, Karl, like very cohesive, but just bringing in all these, you know, fantastic artists to sing. And then, yeah, you know, the instrumental moments are just, yeah, very enticing and above most instrumental music, you know, contemporarily, I would say. So, which I hear. I mean, the centerpiece being Greasy Off the Racing Line with Alison Mosshart. I mean, there's a lot of big moments where there's the drums, as you mentioned, Kylie. So that's Abe Cunningham on
I don't think it is, but it's
I was kind of so, but it's out. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
the way that comes in, and this is an album with a lot of those moments where, you know, if you think you're just gonna sort of sink into your chair to listen to this, then it's
Yeah.
you know, makes you jump. So it has that kind of
Jump
element
scares.
to it. Yeah. Like and but in a very good kind of, you know, hairs on the back of your neck type way, and Grease Off the Racing Line with that chorus is probably the strongest moment of bringing that together, where I think only on the last listen did I realize that the vocals for the chorus from Alison Mosshart are actually whispered, but I thought she was kind of screaming. It's that kind of, yeah, metal kind of approach to it, and a very sort of feral song. But yeah, there's lots of moments like that. I mean, The Ghost of Her Smile, another absolute highlight, as you've already referred to, and Kylie talking about Julie Dawson, who New Dad. Again, we can check out what we think of their debut record in our first year of the pod. I think they brought out one this year as well. But so he's clearly pulling upon artists who are recording stuff at the moment. Obviously, with Ellie Rousel and Wolf Alice having brought out The Clearing back in August as well. And yeah, that was one where when that came on, I went, this really sounds like Wolf Alice and stuff, and Ellie, and then like clicked into it, and then sort of came to that realization and was like, excellent. So yeah, just love how he brings everyone in. I think New Life featuring Pinku is fantastic, really dreamy soundscape, and that's one you can really sink into. That is one you could sink into and not be scared at any moment with something big coming in. And Walter Streifels didn't know. That's one of the names I was unfamiliar with. Well, like Pinku, but didn't know he was Rival Schools. But that one is one of the heavier in terms of lyrical content. I mean, in keeping Soon Will Be Dust. I mean, there we go. And it's quite a positive song despite the name of it as well, and just kind of almost, I don't know, there's references to, I think, depression in there. It's only raining in your mind, and almost just sort of saying, we are here, it's a brief moment, so let's remember that it's brief, but enjoy things is kind of what I took from what he's putting across. And then the title track is a really strong instrumental. I thought it was a bit Mogwai like. I mean, we're bringing out all the ghosts from 5 to 9's past. I feel like everyone we're mentioning we've reviewed, which is a pretty good game. So, but yeah, it's just a smorgasbord of indie artists all coming together into this one vision, which is slightly unsettling, like the title of the album. Quite vague lyrically, but yeah, that kind of unease really comes across. There's moments of kind of passion, like the track with Alison Mossart I've referred to, and sort of pondering on human connection is another sort of theme I sort of take away from this. But overall, one of the strongest records certainly on the pod this year we've covered. And the fact that it brings so many great artists together is just very little I could say to detract from what's been created here. So great pick, Kylie.
I just listened to your review there, and I'm gonna make a bold claim right now. Next year's Gorillaz album, Wishes.
It won't reach the heights, you're saying?
No.
Well, we might have to pick it then. We'll tag you. But I mean, it's setting the bar high if that's who we're going to compare to. But I think it generally in the genre and of kind of instrumental led like electronica and stuff, that's going to be hard to beat. And there probably won't be a rockier moment from the genre too. So very strong review there for Tremor. Third, we have Everybody Screams, Scream rather, by Florence and the Machine. And this was my pick. I think it's just Florence who screams really on the record, in lots of different ways, and mainly in the title track. But I mean, I think we messaged each other on the day her Instagram kind of came alive with the scream, which was the calling card for what was to come. And I think one of the best artists in the UK right now. and a little while since we'd last heard from her, with 2022's goodness,
Dance Fever.
Dance Fever. That's the
Yeah,
one. So a record I really enjoyed. I think there's maybe one or two I'd missed in between because this is only her sixth record. I thought she had done more, but I mean, when it came onto the scene in 2009 with Lungs, which is great record from that era, and then Ceremonials followed it up fantastically for me. So the two really strong albums, and then not sort of kept up to date in the middle of her career to date. And then, like I say, last one I really enjoyed, and so I was definitely very curious to know where she'd go next, and obviously enlisting the help of Mark Bowen from Idols as well on production duties, as well as others. There's Mitski. She's brought on board here, Aaron Desner from the National, and a few other collaborators to put this one together. And I think ultimately what has been created is a very strong album. Also, in between Dance Fever and this one, and I was unaware of what she's gone through on a personal level, with her ectopic pregnancy where she almost died. And my word, does she sort of confront this when you think about the album cover, when you look at a lot of the themes in here as well. So there's a cathartic energy to it, and yeah, great that she's even sort of back and producing her art again, after such a turbulent few years. But I think by bringing in some very well-known collaborators, you get quite a varied album at points. It's quite stripped back as well, and I think it's kind of really kind of cutting to the core of what she wants to say, and not trying to overproduce. Which I mean, one review I read sort of talked about how it was an album which is more like a Shakespeare theatre, but on album. So like, best heard live. And I mean, my word, this is still, she's possibly top now of artists who I haven't seen, who I want to see live. And again, another one playing the O2 who, tickets just went immediately. So unfortunately, I'm hopefully she's on the festival rota maybe next year, because this would be a great one to see live. But it does make sometimes feel a bit bare, I suppose, by taking this stripped back approach. But I mean, there's some real highs on here. I think for me, the top moment is One of the Greats, really inviting fuzzy guitar. And basically she's thinking, what's the legacy I would have left behind if she had gone at that point? I would have been in the top 100. There's some quite funny lyrics within here as well, but it's a real kind of odyssey of a track, and kind of a bit of a riposte at music discussions, and sort of say, I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing here, so it's a really strong statement. Everybody Scream, the title track as well, has those great actual screams which are brought into it and really add that more kind of spooky element, for this Halloween album. Buckle was one written with Mitski, which is quite archetypal of a lot of the tracks, where it is guitar and Florence's voice together, not too much else. But I think out of the handful of songs which have that kind of formula, I think this is the strongest. She wrote this one with Mitski. Takes on the dichotomy between the public acclaim and kind of personal relationships, and the indifference felt, and almost being out of her comfort zone because she's so used to the adulation which comes with the fame and the performance, and performance itself is a massive theme on this album. I mean, the vocals at the end of this one for me are just some of the best on the record, and when we're speaking about great vocals from Florence, that's a higher bar than most, I would say.
For sure.
and Kraken, which follows immediately after, was written with Dave Bailey. I'm not familiar with him, to be honest. You guys might be.
From Glass Animals.
Okay,
Yeah, Glass Animals.
the Oxford band, aren't they?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's another riposte to the critics in this one, and using some of her, typical kind of Florence and the Machine imagery, like with through the Kraken, and with an enigmatic chorus, and then the other sort of main song highlight I would just pull up here is "You Can Have It All" towards the back end, one she does with Mark Bowen, addressing the flawed idea of kind of having it all, which she just says this is something which is a myth, propagated in lots of ways and making people kind of overstretch quite often. But yeah, just huge chorus. Just love the strains in it, and yeah, the arrangement on this one is just excellent. Beyond that, everything else I think is great. The only one I maybe didn't feel was up to the standards of the rest of the album was Perfume and Milk, which probably followed a similar path to some of that handful of tracks I was mentioning before with the guitar and her vocals. But overall, I don't know if I liked it as much as Dance Fever, but it's another really, really strong album, and certainly the ones I've listened to by Florence and the Machine, there's not a bad one among them. And yeah, just so glad she's back and able to tackle these issues head on and do it in such an intriguing way, and kind of ironically based on a lot of the theme of performance, get to share it with such a huge group of people who really love seeing this live. I'm very much, whether it's on the TV or I get to see it live, very much looking forward to watching over the coming months for sure. So yeah, very strong one for me. And yeah, Karl, I'll go across to you now.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm very happy this one got picked this month. Big Florence fan since she first started breaking out over here. Saw one of her first big headline tours in Lincoln around the time of her debut. It's still the only time I've seen her, so I'm well overdue catching her myself again, I think. But yeah, I've enjoyed every project that she's released. Find them all quite unique in the feeling and energy that they provoke, but they're always like unequivocally Florence, which I think I love about it. And yeah, I mean, as you say, Andrew, this one kind of arrives after some quite terrifying circumstances. That ectopic miscarriage during the Dance Fever tour, which, as you say, could have been fatal, and she had to have emergency surgery. And yeah, I mean, this album basically poured out of her as a result of that. And I think it's one you can definitely feel that in every pore and every note on this record. It is a tapestry of pain at times. You really feel it in Florence's vocals, her delivery, all the, demonic and satanic imagery that she conjures up too. Yeah, I mean, and then music that's from the thematic side, and then musically, it's as good as she's ever sounded as well for me. I mean, you mentioned, the guest features, Mitski, Aaron Dessner. I think they do a great job. Obviously, Aaron Dessner and Mark Bowen both were involved in the production side as well. I think do a really good job here. And yeah, and I think it's just pun intended, a spellbinding project. So many highlights here, a lot that you've mentioned. Yeah, one of the greats, has that quite, as you say, there's a lot of minimal arrangements on here. That's one where it's again quite, like you say, quite minimal, but then that final minute or so, it just kind of like explodes. So you've got like that mostly like just a guitar and the shuffling drums, and I think that gives space for Florence's words and her voice to take center stage, which I think it needs to on this record. And then yeah, she's just on that song. She's just full of anger and frustration as she kind of focuses on like you say, like how she'll be remembered, but also like the female experience in the music industry as well, in quite a scathing manner on that track. And yeah, agree with you, just fantastic. Easily one of the best ones on here. Witch Dance as well is their spooky, tribal, but really quite empowering cut as well. Sympathy Magic, another one of the main singles, which is just, yeah, Florence at her majestic best. That wonderful, like, lilting tone on her vocals when we hit the chorus. Just really love that song. And then I think after that great start, we get a really strong kind of middle section. Um, I know you're not a fan of Perfume and Milk, but I really liked how it was like this smoky folk song about almost like touching on like the endless cycle of suffering and healing. Again, I think her lyricism really shines through on this record. I think definitely in those like minimal arrangements as well. Um, I think that's what really comes through. I mean, the other one, Buckle, you mentioned, but Music by Men kind of touches on similar themes to one of the greats. Some really striking lyrics on here. At one point, she says, "Let me put out a record and have it not ruin my life. Let it be us. Let it be home. Let it not be a spotlight standing alone." And yeah, I think it just so open about her mental state and the dark side of like making music for a living on this record, um, which you can't help but kind of get engrossed by, I think. Um, and then the other one I'll just quickly mention because I know it's not one that you touched on was The Old Religion, which is definitely another one of my favorites on here. It kind of steadily builds around this gentle piano melody, which I'm guessing is Aaron Dessner because it sounds like his hallmarks. And yeah, it just really kind of grows into this powerful epic once like the strings and the orchestral elements kind of arrive in the back half. Um, yeah, just a really great song. And you mentioned you can have it all as well. Has that similar trajectory where it starts off like dramatically slow, then just erupts into this jaw-dropping orchestral crescendo. It reminded me a bit of oh, what is it? Led Zeppelin's Kashmir. You know, you got Florence crying out at the end of that track, "Trees grow tall, can't cut me down, am I a woman now?" I think that's the perfect placement as the like penultimate track. And then yeah, the final song, and Love, it's like the sound of her coming out the other side of this, you know, horrific event and ordeal, saying that, you know, peace is finally coming, and it's yeah, just a really quiet and understated closer with like a sprinkling of like harp in that song. Um, so yeah, appreciate what she's done here. I think it just cements Florence, I think, as one of our I mean, you said it at the top, Andrew, one of our country's great songwriters who, you know, really doesn't get half the plaudits that she should get. I think still feels criminally underrated in the grand scheme of things. I think even by myself at times as well. Probably don't listen to her as much as I should sometimes. But yeah, I guess that's part of the point of this record too, which she definitely touches on that. Um, but yeah, love everything about this. Brilliantly paced, beautiful arrangements. Love the dark and spooky imagery she evokes. And yeah, her voice and her words is like the anchor holding it all together. So yeah, real top draw for me. Brilliant record.
Hmm. I think one of the greats is what you were searching for there when you were placing her in
Yeah.
the. So, so yeah, I mean, Kylie, what did you make of Everybody Scream?
Yeah, I enjoyed it as well. Share a lot of what you guys said. Florence is one of those that, especially her first two records, I listened to so much, and then How Big, How Blue, How Beautiful somehow was the last one that I really listened to and missed the last two. So it was nice to drop back in, and she's one of those that my wife loves and y- playing it a lot of the time, and I'm always down for Florence. I appreciate the hell out of her. Um, but yeah, I'm same as you guys. Out of the kind of opening four there, one of the greats is the one that really stood out to me. Um, and like those first four, they kind of, for me, they sound a lot of, when I think of Florence and the Machine, these are ABCD example, and they're great songs, as she always does. But yeah, I'm with you guys, like Buckle and Kraken, and This Old Religion is Aaron Dessner on piano, because yeah, you can definitely tell. Um, and yeah, especially for me, like Music by Men, You Can Have It All, and then And Love. I just love the like swirling harp on that song is so cool. I was wondering, did either of you listen to the chamber version of the album?
No,
So it's just so at least on Apple Music, there's the chamber version has Everybody Scream, Sympathy Magic, The Old Religion, and Drink Deep, um, as bonus tracks with different instrumentation. And it's even more so, like you were talking about that review, Andrew, of Shakespearean minstrel music. And I think especially Everybody Scream, as much as I like the album version of that song, that version's super cool. And then Drink Deep is one that I would like almost maybe switch out from the album version. But yeah, just highly recommend that, because it's a cool little nugget of four songs there that I think would be a really interesting way for her to approach an entire album that way. They're just, kind of, they're stripped back, but just really, really gorgeous and whimsical at the same time. So definitely a couple of those, I'm like, man, I would have switched out this version. But anyway, recommended. And I really enjoyed this album. It was great to get back in touch.
I'm intrigued now. I want to give those a go and see if we would do any swaps. We can compare how many out of 4 we would do. You'd go 1 out of 4, Kylie, would you? Or maybe 2. Everybody's
I understand why Everybody Screams sounds like it does on the record. It's a great single. But just I love what they did with the chamber version. It's really interesting. But yeah, Drink Deep is the one that I'm like, dang, I kind of like that version more.
And that's the only mention of it out of the 3 of us. So clearly it's not one which stands out,
Yeah.
at least amongst us. And so yeah, we can report back from a listen there. But yeah, that was actually the one with the genius lyrics, where I always like try to find what the lyrics and what the songs are about. It was the chamber version which was there, so I knew of its existence. But yeah, now need to give it a go.
I wonder if it comes as like a bonus EP with the record or something like that. I might pick it up if that's the case.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Drink deeper. Yeah.
That's our homework for the episode. So, all good. So yeah, we move on to our 4th album, which is From the Pyre by The Last Dinner Party. And this was our poll winner. So thanks to everyone who voted, and it was Karl's poll pick. So you're gonna introduce us to From the Pyre.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, thanks to everyone who voted. I think this was like the Instagram board, wasn't it? But I think we had a quite close call. But yeah, great to see this one make the slate this month. Yeah, obviously, if you watch our last dinner party review back, I was a big fan of that debut record and still am. So yeah, I was keen to see if they could recapture that magic and avoid a sophomore slump on this one. And for me, I think they managed that. Yeah, I mean, similar to Creeper, it is more of the same of what they gave us on that debut on the last record. Big, baroque pop. Again, I mean, maybe a bit darker than the debut, both in terms of like the imagery, and there's a lot of songs on here that talk about, trauma from past relationships. Um, there's also a few songs already well familiar with before getting into this album, like Second Best has been a part of their live set for a while, and lead single This Is the Killer Speaking was part of their festival set over the summer, which, yeah, so already kind of well familiar with those tracks. And I think when I was reading up about this album, I saw where they were listening to Arctic Monkeys AM while they were making this one, and I think This Is the Killer Speaking, and I think Count the Ways is where you can kind of really hear that influence coming through the most. Um, but yeah, then the Scythe later on in the track list, which they also released as a single. I think that's by far my favorite song on here. Just this really, heartfelt song about loss and grief. Abigail Morris writing it about losing her father at 17, which I was reading like she'd never really dealt with it. And then she found this song from like her teenage years that she thought was about something else. And then she realized it was about that. Um, and yeah, I just love the tender arrangement on that song, and that solo from Emily Roberts at the end. Yeah, just wonderful. I think that's definitely the peak of this album for me. Um, but yeah, I think I'd say those singles and Count the Ways are probably my highlights. Um, but that's not to say there's really a bad track or a lull on here. I think, Rifle is this really powerful track about the Israel-Palestine conflict. I Hold Your Anger and Inferno, both great tracks as well. They've got this country feel about it with the, like the bluesy guitars. Both of those songs. Um, Sail Away is then something a little bit different. It's like this really tender, like piano ballad. So yeah, I mean, a lot of variety across the track list here. As I said, I don't think there's like any moments that I'd skip. Um, but yeah, I think similar to Creeper, overall, it's hard to top, the last one for me. I think pound for pound, the debut is definitely the stronger of the two records so far. But as a follow up, I think this is pretty good going, considering as well like the heights that they hit on that first record and this one coming so soon after. It's always a precarious situation to be in as an artist, and a lot of expectation and things like that. And yeah, as I say, I think this is a decent follow up without being the real kind of mind blowing experience I think the debut was. There's definitely some nice additions to the live set, and like I said, those singles in particular really stand out on this as some of their best work so far as well. So yeah, I think if you enjoyed that first album, yeah, you'll be pretty satisfied, I'd say, with the Pyre as well.
So, Kylie, what did you make of the second offering from the last dinner party?
Yeah, I think I feel a lot of as far as a follow-up album, the same as Karl. The first one I enjoyed, but wasn't fully where it was critically. And it's funny. I was asking you guys last week if there had been as much press for this record, just because this was one of those UK records that did make it the debut made it really big stateside, and everybody was writing about the last dinner party. And then somehow I'm not sure if I would have known about the second album if we didn't have it for the podcast, which I think is really interesting because I think the quality is in the songwriting is just as good on this record. I think for me, I Hold Your Anger and Inferno especially kind of doesn't sound like the rest of the record. And that was my favorite song on here. Um, like the main thing that I come away with this album is that songwriting's great, the performances are great. Um, and it took me a couple listens, but compared to the first one, it's not as large sounding in the mix. And so you know, looked into it and they changed up producers for this record. This is Marcus Drabs who did this one. Um who, is a pop producer, started out doing cool stuff for Bjork and Neon Bible, which in the suburbs, which those were the arcade record fire records besides the first one that I can still get into. But a lot of his work otherwise is a lot of you know mid Coldplay records, Mumford and Sons, a lot of the newer Kings of Leon records. He did do Florence, How Big, How Blue, which I did like that record. But just kind of going through that roster and what he's been working on, that's where it all made sense to me. Is that this is production mixing wise much more poppy and doesn't have as much room to breathe on as much of a grand scale that I felt that the first record did. And that this is one of those that I would be curious to see these songs live and just let them breathe, because the album mix for me is just it it doesn't do it for me like the first one did. So I think the skeleton is good, just a little rearranging, I guess.
The chamber pop
And I
version.
yeah, and don't take anything personally, Marcus Dravs, but just not my thing.
There we go with the personal barb.
I don't wanna.
um,
He makes music. He works on music that people really like.
it's it's an interesting one. This one, like, and an interesting point you make, Kylie, about the discourse, because you couldn't move for discourse about the first album, and I think we spent about half of our review talking about how they'd been kind of skewered in the press, and wrongly as well, as it turned out. But yeah, what they were kind of going through, and that typical thing about a big band on a big label who've kind of come out of nowhere, and industry plants and all this kind of stuff. And then and I think we were all united on the front that it's a great collection of musicians who come together and created a very catchy debut album. So with this one, and I don't know why, because I really loved the debut album. I was like, yeah, I'm not that bothered. If I'd have missed it this year, I wouldn't have been bothered. But thank goodness it was on here, to be honest, because this is one I've really enjoyed. And yeah, it's a reminder of their strengths and coming together. Like I don't know, it just feels so soon that it didn't feel necessary. Like, so that's why I was just a bit like, yeah, do we need another one right now? If you'd give me maybe another year, I'd be like, oh yeah, they're back, this kind of thing. So like, starting with low expectations, and then and even with the singles, I wasn't blown away. Like, This Is the Killer Speaking, I think it's a very good track, and it sounds better within the mix here. But it wasn't a Nothing Matters or anything. And yeah, I just wasn't really sure what to make of this going into it. But if anything, I think it's a more collective effort than the first one, it seems. I think they're a very collective band in how they approach their songs. But here, there's a couple of songs with others singing from the band as well. And yeah, the theme of kind of relationships. It's like they've sat round a fire and kind of burnt the clothes of former lovers, and sort of got all that out there, and this is it in album form, essentially. So yeah, kind of continues the cathartic theme we've discussed on some of the other albums here. Agnes Day, I think, is just a really lovely opening track. about, love in the apocalypse with some mournful instrumentation, ostentatious lyrics in their typical style, decent guitar solo from Emily Roberts, who, as usual, is on good form. Count the Ways, yeah, it's a good one. I wouldn't say this is one of the highlights, but it makes sense. I think the AM reference and like I say, the kind of poppy flavor with the producer here. But I think the first moment where I'm really digging it is second best, and I think probably the best single which they brought out.
Agreed.
Yeah, just great chorus, cathartic anthem, and kind of being kinder to yourself in what they're saying there, that they put themselves second in the relationship they're in, and they're able to take a step back and go, that wasn't quite right, but boiled into the confusion of still remnants of how they felt at the time and stuff. So it's not like so straightforward. It's quite nuanced. And then you obviously have This Is the Killer Speaking, which, like I say, another good track. But my favorite sort of trio on the album, the next three, Rifle, which is sung by Lizzie Mayland. Wasn't aware it was to do with Palestine. I just had that they were lambasting the violent tendencies of someone, or a state. Now that I can have that knowledge. A bridge sung in French, so it's the first time we'll be talking about French lyrics. But yeah, it's a great song for me. Followed up with Woman is a Tree, which is just so interesting, with this pagan-like delivery, and the kind of concept of women being sort of so in tune with nature and their role within society and all this kind of thing. I just find that track really captivating and very different. And then after that, you have I Hold Your Anger with Aurora Nishevchi singing, and she's got a great voice. I really enjoyed her taking the lead here, and enjoy the kind of sad atmosphere which is created, and again, sort of the female experience being talked about. So I think those three is where I really am in tune with this album. The next tracks I think are good, but maybe not quite as impressive. But yeah, it's a high bar, I would say, and 10 tracks, just no bad one among them. Great instrumentation, great players of the music, great vocalists, not just Abigail Morris, who we last spoke of when we were reviewing BC Camplight's album earlier in the year. So yeah, might not have been particularly wanting it or expecting it so soon after Prelude to Ecstasy, but yeah, I think this is on par, possibly slightly better, possibly slightly below that one. I'd need to listen to that one again to to make up my mind, but yeah, just really they've hit a level and they've stuck to it, and then very, very impressive. So very much enjoyed this one, and yeah, glad it was chosen. Glad you put it onto the poll, Karl. So and with that, we
choice as well this month.
yeah. I mean, we've talked about some great ones, and I think we can now rest on the Halloween theme as we move into our fifth and final album, which we could probably pull something which is eerie maybe about this or something, but certainly it's not overt, and that is La Symphonie des Éclairs, Orchestral Odyssey by Zaho de Sagazan. This was chosen by guest picker Xenia Evans, the editor of the What a Tune blog, which covers all things world music. And you can keep up to date with What a Tune by following @WhatATuneblog on Instagram. So yeah, don't believe either of you were aware of Zaho de Sagazan? Because if you were, then please go ahead. If not, I'll I'll dive in on this one. Yeah, quite an interesting selection, because this is not the first kind of time, you know, the album has come out. It first came out in 2023 in its original form. There then was kind of an extended version last year, and then going into year 3, we have this orchestral version. So I must admit, I've not gone back to those other ones. It's just going in completely blind into this orchestral version. But yeah, it really, you know, if I'm to think of a French singer with an orchestra, this is this is what I would imagine. Essentially, it's like it really sort of hits the nail of the stereotype you would think of, and it's perfectly pleasant. I can stick it on, you know, whilst I'm working, and it's one, I think, to get the full effect, you have to listen to the full thing. You know, it's just over an hour, so it's a bit more on your time than a lot of albums, I think, which are brought out today. But yeah, I think if you dip in, then it's like you're getting half the story, really. And yeah, you know, thankfully the genius lyrics give the English version, so I'm able to get a little bit of of context here. And again, it's pretty much on the theme of love overall, and yeah, the peaks and troughs and lost love. And I mean, the first track's just all about cigarettes. It's called Aspiration. And just, yes, it's a dramatic composition for cigarette withdrawal. But I really enjoyed it. It really sets the scene and kind of tells you what the next hour is going to entail. Mon Inconnu, then I think just keeps the quality levels high. This is where she falls for someone and admits it to her father, with some quite interesting imaginary flourishes added to the lyricism. But then from there, I mean, I struggle to get that same height in terms of quality where I was really lifted. I mean, I just felt I'm enjoying this. It's not bad at all, but then it just goes into a roster of songs where, yeah, it's all good. Again, some interesting lyrical themes. You know, Les Dormant, we've got the crazy nature of being in the throes of love. Jerez, which has a quite good refrain. Suffisamment, which we have some auto-tune vocals, so, you know, again, something a little bit different. But it's probably not until Tristesse when I'm suddenly lifted again. And this one here, it kind of talks about love and war, and kind of that comparison. And you know, I really enjoy the kind of percussion here, the big timpani percussion on the sinister atmosphere which is created. And I think this leads then to the last few songs where the quality is back up. So you got the sort of introduction, you have the end few tracks, and in the middle it's kind of sits where it sits, which is good, but nothing greater than that. But the title track, I think, is worth just a quick note on that. Le Dernier, oh, that's not the title track. Le Dernier de Voyage, which from what I understand, I think is like the main track, which has been what has brought people to Zaho. Yeah, I think this is one of the highlights as well. Really builds very theatrically. It's a nice bit of sporadic piano on top of some gentle pulsing strings, which then becomes bigger and bigger. Very foreboding. It's about a last trip, so you get that kind of feeling conveyed, and that's a very good one, as is the following track, Est-ce que tu vas bien. But yeah, overall, liked it. Essentially. And if you want something a bit different, if you want something which is not going to be too intrusive whilst you're working, for instance, you can stick on. I'm a big fan of kind of classical style music and orchestral type of music, and this works very well for that. And yeah, she has a very distinctive, quite nasally voice, and it's very strong, a very strong vocalist, I would say. So yeah, good is the one word review. And with that, I will go to Kylie for your thoughts on Zaho de Sagazan's Orchestral Odyssey.
Yeah, so I did the homework and went and listened to the original
Putting me to shame.
version. And well, I think it made me severely frustrated with this orchestral version, which you know I do think it's pleasant. I do enjoy, if you want to say orchestral, classical. But that version, the new one that we're reviewing, I just felt like it was a little show tunes at certain points. Um, and like my note for this record, compared to the original version, was uh too much Cirque du Soleil, not enough air. Because just like case in points, when I was listening to the orchestral version, the first couple songs, I was like, this is fine. And then Les Garçons, uh I couldn't do it. And then you go back and you listen to the original version of this record, and that is one of my favorite songs on there. And like same can be said for obviously I'm not going to be great at these, but Je Rêve, which uh didn't do anything for me on the orchestral version, but on the original album it's almost like this uh like a Feist um song. Or you were talking about Tristesse, which same thing. I enjoyed the orchestral version, but the original album, it's like electronic krautrock. It's just like driving synthesizers. And so I think uh I just I have to give the orchestral version that we're reviewing a poor score, with the caveat that I really like the original version of this album. It's really good. Um, and that it's funny to listen to them in reverse order like that. But I've listened to the original version a couple times now. I've really enjoyed it. So
Hmm.
if it was that version, it might be towards the top of my picks this month, but it's not.
There we go. So Florence
She's a
Future
great
came the
singer.
version.
I appreciate her. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. This is another bit of homework for us. I mean, Carl, did you go back to the original?
I didn't. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I need to now, though.
Yeah.
It sounds
I think
very
you guys
interesting.
might be into it. Yeah.
Mm.
No, I mean, like you guys, yeah, not an artist I was familiar with at all. Completely new to me. But yeah, I mean, in terms of this orchestral one, it ticks a lot of boxes for me. You guys know by now I love albums that are cinematic and orchestral anyway. So it didn't really matter that a lot of the lyrics were in French and I didn't understand what they were about. As you say, Andrew, lots of like pleasant sonic textures and arrangements on this record. Um, but yeah, I mean that um other version definitely intrigued to hear as well, just to see how it compares. Because with this being like almost live sounding and yeah, all those strings and big arrangements on here. That for me, those two elements are almost what I love about this record. So be interested to hear that other one and to see how what she does differently on here. But yeah, it plays out like a theatre production or an opera on your headphones. And yeah, I mean, like you say, Andrew, it's not really an album I would dip into individual tracks. Happily one that I'd just, hit play, soak up the sounds for an hour, and then, yeah, move on to something else, basically. But yeah, I think the other obvious touch point for me was Christine and the Queens. Reminded me a lot of their music, not just because it's French pop and like for those reasons. But I think because of like the scope and the ambition of the project as well, it reminded me of that triple album that I loved and you guys didn't love so much. And that's the more I listened to this one, it just made me want to revisit that record. I was like, oh yeah, I wish I was listening to that one right now. But yeah, I mean, I won't go into the individual tracks as you guys say. I think this is an album where it's all about the experience of the whole rather than like the individual moments on this one. It does, take you on a journey when you're playing it front to back. So, but yeah, I mean, like you guys, I thought it was a really interesting project. Like I say, right up my street. And yeah, maybe it's a shame it's got such tough competition this month, because I think in a less stacked month, it might have actually scored quite well, certainly from my side. Um, but yeah, as it stands, definitely one happy to recommend if you're after, yeah, something a little different, a little bit epic, but yeah, definitely intrigued to catch the Kraut rock version as well.
Yeah, I think she's playing the London Palladium tonight as well, which
Really?
is, I mean, the Palladium is one of the. I mean, I've seen Hosier there. Madonna did a residency. It's like it's not the biggest, but it's quite a prestigious
Mm.
venue. So she's clearly got quite a following, basically.
Did she sing for the Olympics or something? I thought I saw for.
Okay, I don't know. I don't know. To be honest,
Yeah, she's a very big deal in France.
yeah. Well, just shows another artist brought to our attention, and yeah, definitely want to check out the krautrock version of this. And yeah, I think the one in between was just an extended version of that one, not otherwise he'd be saying, okay, year 4, where are we going now? But
Chamber version.
Chamber version.
intrigued to sort of see how different it all is, and yeah, whether that's more up our street as I think you would probably think, Kylie, based on your own listening there. So oh well, that, like I say,
think it's a
second
really good
homework from this pod, chamber version of Florence's, and then first go of Zaho's record, which we've just covered. So that is the 5. And now we move on to the verdict. So, Kylie, are you gonna run through your 5 to 1?
Sure. So number 5 would be Zaho, maybe 1 or 2 if it was the other version. Number 4 would be The Last Dinner Party. Number 3, Florence. Number 2, Creeper. And number 1, Daniel Avery.
Okay, Karl.
Yeah, slightly different. I've got Zaho at 5. Again, I think in another month it might have done better. 4, I've actually got Creeper. 3, I've got The Last Dinner Party. And then really struggled to separate these two, but I've landed on number 2, Daniel Avery, and given one of the greats. Put it at the top of the list. Yeah, Florence and the Machine. At number 1.
You just feeling pumpkin spice lattes a little bit more, huh?
Yeah.
All right, and so yeah, I'm same with Zaho 5. I've got, and same as you, Karl, Creeper 4. Then I've got Florence at 3. The Last Dinner Party at 2. And Daniel Avery was my favourite this month, which means that we can congratulate Daniel Avery for winning our album of the month for October 2025. That's 14 points. So that's the joint highest we've given out so far this year, alongside Panda Bear in February. So congratulations, Daniel. Great record. And next will be our final monthly episode for November, when we'll be reviewing the latest releases by Ali X, Danny Brown, Homefront, Midlake, and Sorry. You can stay up to date with what we're up to by following 5 to 9 on Instagram and YouTube. New Music Central via @Karl Blakesley via Instagram and Threads, and Mama Mañana Records via @Mama Mañana Records on Instagram. Thanks for listening.